Good morning, Trump's family. Have a great Monday, everyone, and God bless you. Thank you for always watching and subscribing to the channel. Alright, without further ado, let's get into the news. So you're left with the choice: the Biden-Lindsey Graham-Zelensky option of best-case scenario threatening World War III, and pitting global superpowers against each other worst-case scenario, nuclear Armageddon, or the Donald Trump route of dealing with our adversaries, getting to the boardroom, the roundtable, whatever you want to call it, discussions, negotiations from a diplomatic perspective. And to me the answer seems absolutely clear. Donald Trump is 100% the better option. Counter to the Democrat mainstream narrative, Donald Trump is the level-headed one. Joe Biden is the clear World War III threat, and it's funny how the same left boys who were screeching and hollering back in 2016. And throughout Donald Trump's election, he's gonna start the next world war. He's poking the bear in North Korea. He's gonna start a war with China and Russia. All of a sudden those same people are looking old guinea like a bunch of NPCs who programmed in the new talking point, which seems to be start World War III Russia bad. You know, it's sober side-by-side analysis like this that really starts to allow you to put things into perspective. Outside of all of the media noise. The simple fact of the matter is that Donald Trump is just a better option. Everything was better under Donald Trump's watch. The world is more stable. America was more stable. The southern border was more stable. America was more secure. The world was more secure, and the economy was in much better shape. Instead, you have this frickin' clown as everything's going to hell in a handbasket continues to say nonsense like this. Biden claims that families have a little bit more breathing room after another dismal inflation report. We've covered the data, we know the stats. American families are being squeezed like they haven't experienced in more than a decade, and Joe keeps touting his success. There's no success at all. And honestly, when it's all said and done, when you really analyze it, when you really look at the facts, even an expert historian agrees that Biden might actually be on pace to become the worst president in history. A presidential historian noted on President's Day of all occasions that Joe Biden is on track to become the worst leader in the country's history. New York Times best-selling author Craig Shirley told Just the News podcast on Monday, "I ranked him among our worst 5 presidents in American history." The ranking was initially based on an article authored by Shirley, which was written 1 year after Joe Biden took office as president. Shirley has now revealed that he plans to update the ranking 2 years after Biden was inaugurated. He's actually going to become the worst president in American history, Shirley told the program. You know, I keep talking about contrasting and comparing these two figures, but at the end of the day, there is no comparison. Joe Biden is a globalist, status quo, corrupt politician bringing back all the problems, all the issues experienced under Obama, Bush and other presidencies, and Donald Trump was the breath of fresh air. I don't know about you guys, but I could really use a breath of real fresh air after experiencing 2 years of toxic air quality, all starting since the moment Sleepy Joe was inaugurated. Joe Biden is talking about families having a little bit more breathing room. It's kind of hard to breathe under Sleepy Joe's non-existent leadership. And some significant news: migrant encounters at southern border hit 1 million mark for fiscal year 2023. Outpacing prior years, as of Friday the total migrant encounters at the border were at 1,008,217 for the fiscal year, which just began in October. Of these, 87.8% were single adults. The first months of this year have outpaced those of the prior fiscal year. This time last year numbers for 2022 were at 800,000. Well under the 1 million mark. For comparison, there were 1.7 million encounters overall in 2021, and 2.3 million overall in 2022. Meanwhile, there have been over 300,000 known getaways, illegal immigrants who have evaded Border Patrol agents, but have been detected on other forms of surveillance. And in 2022, there were nearly overall 600,000 getaways. Despite the high number of encounters, the Biden administration has pointed to a sharp drop in numbers from the historic high of 251,000 in December to over 156 in January. While that figure is the highest on record for the month of January, officials still link the drop to a number of measures rolled out by the administration last month, including a humanitarian parole program that allows 30,000 migrants from 4 nationalities into the United States each month. The administration has also been calling on Congress to pass sweeping immigration reform, including an amnesty for millions of illegal immigrants already in the United States and provide additional funding at the border. However, hitting 1 million so early in the year has some agents concerned that if numbers pick up again in the spring, as often happens, it could bring yet more record-breaking numbers. Republicans held a hearing this week at the border in Arizona and visited El Paso, Texas, as they seek to showcase what they say is a border crisis caused by lax policies by the Biden administration. Representative Harriet Hegman said the trip to Arizona showed her the impacts that the quote, failed policy of the administration are having on Americans. Quote, we are dealing with a crisis down there and the Biden administration is only exacerbating it and making it worse every single day. She said former Vice President Mike Pence is once again taking jabs at President Donald Trump. Quote, I think the times call for different leadership. I'm confident we'll have better choices than my old running mate, said Pence, adding that Americans, quote, want to see us and our politicians return to the kind of civility and respect that Americans show one another every day. Quote, I'm very confident that Republican primary voters are going to choose the right standard bearer for this moment. He continued, quote, someone that can provide not only the policies in leadership, but the style of leadership that will help bring our nation back. Pence has been flirting with the idea of challenging Trump in 2024. Though he has not formally announced a campaign. Quote, I think by the spring, our family expects to have a very clear sense of our calling. Pence said when asked if he will make a decision about a run for the presidency. In November, Pence said that he and his family would gather over the holidays, quote, and we'll give prayerful consideration to what our role might be in the days ahead. He says, quote, it wasn't exactly the style of presidency that I would have advanced had I been the first name on the ballot, Pence said of his time as Trump's vice president. He continues, quote, but it was his presidency and I was there to support him and help him. And until that fateful day in 2021 I sought to do just that. The president had decided to be part of the problem, and I was determined to be part of the solution. Erin Brockovich urges East Palestine residents to document health conditions as some are diagnosed with bronchitis. Environmental activist Erin Brockovich urged residents in East Palestine, Ohio to document any health effects they are experiencing following the devastating train derailment that is carrying hazardous chemicals. Some residents this month say that they have been diagnosed with bronchitis and other conditions that doctors and nurses suspect are linked to the chemical exposure. Quote, you need to be vigilant. You need to journal, you need to document information, Brockovich said to a roomful of residents in a town hall meeting on Friday, February 24. A nearby manufacturing plant shared that 5 of their 10 employees were unable to come to work. General Manager Howard Wong said that his workers were, quote, dropping like flies following the train derailment. Quote, people ended up with rashes, nausea, vomiting, bloody nose, eye issues, a lot of coughing and wheezing. He said we sent a lot of workers to the hospital to get checked out. And sure enough, in most cases, it was a diagnosis of chemical bronchitis. They were put on 5 different kinds of pills, including steroids. Some guys have to use inhalers. It's pretty bad. Deborah WHSC, a nurse practitioner at QuickMed, one of the closest urgent care clinics to East Palestine, said that she is diagnosing 5 to 10 individuals a day who have symptoms consistent with chemical exposure. Quote, they're complaining of burning to their lungs, nasal drainage, eyes burning, throat pain, unknown rashes that have started since they've been back to their homes. In Friday's town hall, Brockovich empathized with 2,700 residents who packed into the East Palestine High School gymnasium. The activists warned residents, saying you want to be heard, but you're going to be told it's safe. You're going to be told not to worry. She said, that's just rubbish. Because you're going to worry. Communities want to be seen and heard. You're starting to get 50 and 100,000 angry moms together. I'm telling you right now, things will change. You have the ability to become, and you will become your own critical thinker, Brockovich continued, quote, you will vet information, you will ask questions, you demand answers, you will listen to that gut and that instinct that will keep you connected as a community. Don't let what happened here divide you. The EPA announced a new hotline for residents and businesses to help provide various services, including guidance for accessing ongoing air monitoring, water sampling, as well as information about scheduling cleaning services. Paul Ryan will skip the Republican National Convention if Trump wins the primary. Paul Ryan, Former Speaker of the House of Representatives said this weekend that he will skip the 2024 Republican National Convention if President Donald Trump wins the Republican primary. In an interview, Ryan was asked where he would be during the convention held in Milwaukee. Quote, "It depends on who the nominee is. I'll be here if it's not somebody named Trump." Quote, "You won't show up if it's someone," the host said before Ryan quickly cut in. "Yeah, I'm not interested in participating." "No," the host asked, quote, "even if it's in Wisconsin?" And he replied, "Even Wisconsin?" Marchers at Texas A&M contradict Biden official and reveal that toxic pollutants still airborne in East Palestine could pose long-term risks. Independent analysis of Environmental Protection Agency data concerning the fallout of the derailment in Ohio has revealed that, contrary to previous claims made by EPA officials, there continued to be abnormally high levels of airborne toxins that could jeopardize the long-term health of residents in the area. A team of researchers from Texas A&M have scrutinized EPA data and found elevated levels of chemicals known to cause not only various symptoms, including headaches, eye and lung irritation, but possibly also cancer. They also noted that, quote, "Some concentrations in Ohio for 9 out of 50 or so chemicals that EPA reported on are higher than normal. If these levels continue, they may be of health concern." Close quote. The Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry noted that one chemical in particular, a pesticide, is, quote, "used to make chemical weapons at higher concentrations. If breathed in at low levels for a short time, then individuals exposed may experience watery eyes and sore throats. However, those exposed at higher levels may see their lungs affected, quote, more severely and for a longer time. Breathing in very high levels of this pesticide, it might affect your lungs so severely that you might die." A professor at Texas A&M told The Washington Post that while the EPA publicly posted the data it had collected, it provided it without context and shows, quote, "potential concern about long-term health effects." That's what I got for you guys though. Thanks for watching.